Many thanks for staying with us on TMI Monday morning edition. All right about now, we're going straight to our interview segment, and I have with me some analysts in the studio who will be talking with me alongside. We'll be looking at security issues in Benin City. I have Christopher Ojekewe. He's a civil activist. Christopher, good morning.
Good morning, thank you.
All right, I also have Curtis Obebo. He's one gentleman that smiles once in a while.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
All right, good to have you. I also have Collins Amadi. He's a public affairs analyst. Collins, good to have you on board.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Good morning, viewers out there.
All right, gentlemen, you will agree with me that the issue of insecurity, should I say, is no more a topic because it has been a norm of recent all over the world. Now, let's narrow it down to Nigeria and our state in particular. How will you overview, or what is your take on the security issue in Benin City? Now to you now.
Yeah, thank you very much. The issue of insecurity in Benin ordinarily is what can be managed by normal citizens within the state. I will tell you that level has a little bit have his own way of being managed ordinarily. Okay. But the only problem we have is usually from the rural areas, where we have the extremists and the headers who have decided to take on our people unguidedly. And unfortunately, we have the present administration in the state that is very insensitive to the security issue.
Do you think so? Do you think so? The government is actually working.
I think so because I know so because I live here. I have been part of government. I see what happens.
But you cannot just conclude that the government is
now.
insensitive.
Why did I say that? I must have my reasons for saying that.
Okay.
The governor perhaps is one governor among many other governors who have not been able to put pen to paper to help manage the attitude of elders across, our local governments. The 18 local governments, peradventure, outside Oredo precisely, not even just some part of Oredo too, are under invasion by these elders and extremists. But by virtue of a fiat, some of these guys could grip over. But we have a system where it's more like idle care system. Now we were happy at the time when the neighbor security outfit, the local vigilante security outfit that came up. And we saw that there were kind of improvement at the time. Because across even this rural area, there were some who voluntarily, because they don't go because
what does that mean now?
Yes, out of pain, you have to fight for your homeland. Not even because they were well paid for it, but for them as those local vigilante that was put together at the time, they saw it as a drive to see how they can secure their very community. But unfortunately, you cannot put something on nothing. How can you put young men together and say government on its own will do its own part to encourage them, when we know how much that leaves for security vote, and yet the government cannot pay these people on a statutory basis? Now we must have a full data of these guys that the government, for example, seems to engage. There may be some that may have a special training owing to the territory they are going to manage, like the rural areas I'm talking about. You cannot just send vigilante boys, for example, to those areas where headers over the time have been harassing our people, or just like that. So you must kit them. By kitting them, by bulletproof, by wearing a bulletproof, wearing a good helmet, wearing a sound boots.
Having good rifle.
Yes, having a good rifles that can help them combat, such a thing. Unlike the urban, which is more civil by attitude, apart from normal noise, they try to see how they can put those together. But unfortunately, the governor of those states and the government, as it were, have been insensitive to this plight. How can you set up a vigilante team and they are not being paid?
We are going to get to that. Now let's come to Christopher. Are you sharing the same thoughts with him?
I want to start by saying that there is nobody in the country today who is not experiencing what we may refer to as the season of anomie. With respect to the specter of insecurity, violence, aggression, occasions by the activities of bandits across the country. And there's hardly a family that has not found one of its own relation involved one way or another. So it's a very sensitive issue. And I can quite understand it from that part, that level, the passion with which my colleague speaks. But I want to deal with the issue because it's an issue that has to be dealt with. You don't run away from the issues of security. On a daily basis, we have hundreds, if not thousands, of bandits in the name and in the guise of whatever guise, trooping into Edo State, unchecked and unchallenged.
Daily basis.
Yes, on a daily basis. And I tell you that from the vantage position of people on the streets whose ears are to the ground and who monitor these things. If they're not coming in truckload of cows and in a truckload of onion bags, they are coming in at the back of Dyna vehicles and so on and so forth. They have no skills. They have no destination. Many of them don't even understand the English language. Many of them, by their tribal marks, cannot be traced to any tribe in Nigeria. And they flood this town. Those who go to farms will tell you that they see them in the forest. The security people are aware. They have camps in the forest. And every day in our forest, our women are being killed, our men are being killed, our children are being killed. We have no agricultural economy in Edo State today because the forests have been taken over. Go to Ovia Forest or Digwete, or all the other places around there. Now, and every other village for that matter.
Part of
yes. So security issue, though not alone or not only in Edo State, all over the country, is more of a serious issue here because we have no business at all with these people being in our forests. Okay. They are not carrying out any economic activity that is productive of Edo economy. Therefore, we have to face that reality. That's number one. Number two, I need for us to understand that in organizing security, we must call the federal government to responsibility. It is the responsibility of the federal government to provide security for the territorial integrity of the Nigerian state. And the federal government must live up to that responsibility. Okay. Because we understand that there's just so much a state government can do. For instance, the vigilante that we are referring to, and he has said that he would rather see them better equipped. By the time he started naming the equipment, I started to quickly imagine the huge budget that would take for you to arm a vigilante enough. Because they are going to contend against people who are carrying AK-47 in the forest, unchallenged. Some of these people have been apprehended, even by these vigilantes, with their weak weapons. And they have been handed over to security forces. Up to today, we don't have any record of any single one prosecuted. Are you following? So it's a serious issue. If we narrow it down to Edo State and narrow it down to the governor of Edo State, we'll be missing it. I think the governor himself is helpless. Okay. Because there are political undertones, which we may come to later in the discussions, as to why state governors and individual states, we saw what happened in Benue and how Otom, was marked. But he had courage and he fought to speak out and to develop strategies to hold that state to a standstill with respect to the activities of Miyetti Allah.
All right, now.
Yes.
Okay, are you done? All right. I'm coming. You still have something to say?
Yeah, but let him finish when he finishes.
Let's hear.
All right. Thank you very much. First and foremost, it's obvious that in our context, we don't even understand the purpose of governance. Either the government, as it were, or the citizens on the other side does not understand the purpose of governance, or rather what social contract means. The people elect leaders, give them their resources, and to an extent surrender their rights for the purpose of social order, for the purpose of security and welfare of the citizen. If I elect a local government chairman, or a governor, or a president, and entrust some of my rights and my resources into the hands of the president or the governor. What is the essence? Is for the governor or the president to, in return, provide security and welfare. The citizen on their own does not also understand what this concept means. Now, going by what my comrade said, the insensitivity on the part of the government. Obviously, it is the lackadaisical approach of the government that have led us to where we are today. And we are also acquainted with how this insecurity started in the northern part of this country. And the same politics that is being played out now in the south and in Edo State is what played out in the north that got us to where we are.
Okay.
Now, let me correct this impression. By the provisions of Nigeria Constitution, the governor is the chief security officer of the state. It is the responsibility of the governor to provide for security and welfare of every citizen in the state.
But recently, we saw a video where the governor hosted the AIG Zone 5 in person of Mr. Jemeta, who paid him a courtesy visit. And according to the governor, he said the only issue we have currently in Edo State is land grabbing.
All right, let me take that up. That also takes us back to the insensitivity on the part of the governor. It seems he doesn't even know what is going on in the state, and he is not concerned about the security and welfare of the people in the state. Because he should know that the issue of land grabbing, it's just a minor. What matters, the main security issue, is the herdsmen that have ransacked communities, that have held some of our community hostage. Now, to also for that buttress to show that the governor is not concerned, it's before 5 days now the Igwetwe was invaded. You saw that very disturbing and disheartening video. As we speak, the #1 citizen of the state have not made any statement to that effect. No government official have visited that community. What will you say? It shows that the government is not concerned. To further buttress this, now, the insecurity, or rather the architecture of the nation's security architecture is defective.
Okay.
Now, what do I mean? He said that it is the duty of the president to take charge of security. That, I may beg to differ, is not 100% correct.
Okay.
Why? The way the president is in Aso Rock, who supersedes the whole nation, we are aware. That is why we also, cannot expect the man sitting in Aso Rock to also be in Odigwetwe. That is why we have governor. That is why we have local government chairman.
That's why we have councillors.
Yes, but where we have problem here is that the governor does not have 100% control on our security agencies. I think that is the only way we have issues.
Are you sure?
Of course, the state governor cannot give a directive to the commissioner of police.
Mr. Christopher,
no, yes, he will respond. Let me quickly throw light on this. Now, away from the fact that the state governor does not have 100% control over security architecture. Okay. Now, there is also a structure that also provides that the state governors receive millions, running into billions monthly for security.
You can't ascertain that.
No, I'm talking with facts. The facts are there. I am not fabricating it. It's a no fact that as it stands right now, the state government receive close to $1 billion monthly,
like I said, we
for
can't
security.
That
Now, what is the government? What is the governor doing with that security vote? And again, we talked about those state security network. What is the state government doing with security network? They have been saturated in the urban area of the state, leaving the rural area, those in the village, vulnerable to these monstrous headers.
Okay, now, can we trace the insecurity in Edo State to farmers' headers crisis?
No. The euphemism, farmers' headers crisis, was a deliberate manipulation of the press of the federal government to tone down on the atrocities that is happening in the name of insecurity. What is happening is banditry, is terrorism. It is not farmers' headers clashes. Long before this government, we had farmers' herders clashes, where an Hausa Fulani man would take his cattle into your farm, and then, yes, you have a little altercation. Sometimes community head will come and settle it. And sometimes they will use their knife, their dagger on you, and then to be settled. That's the one you can call farmer herders clashes. What we have here is deliberate attack on the Nigerian state by mercenaries imported. These things are in the public domain, and they have gone out of control. And then the lackadaisical attitude on the part of the federal government, which I repeat is in charge of security, and he has given the breakdown. The state government is, so to speak, an administrative head of the security architecture in the state, not the operational head. The state government cannot give order to the commissioner of police without the commissioner of police getting clearance from the IG before carrying out that instruction. That's a limitation. Now, what state governments try to do is to form militia groups, like what we call the vigilante group. What we are saying here is that you could make that militia group more functional. I think that is the responsibility we can put on the hand of the state government, by providing better equipment, by finding means for remuneration, by organizing them and getting them better trained, and then getting them to better spread so that they can meet security incidences. For instance, the land grabbing that is going on, we still have ideas of kidnapping going on even within the state. We still have ideas of armed robbery going on within the state. All of this hasn't stopped, even though they are not mandatory. If it was just that the vigilante was even taken care of, and then we can begin to hold the military responsible for what is happening in the forest. We are all overwhelmed, so to be very honest. But the point is this: it has to be done. We cannot continue to talk about it. There has to be a Marshall Plan. State government, yes, that on how to tackle security or insecurity. And we should move it up to regional integration. Okay. They set up Amotekun in the southwest. That's true. Amotekun was supposed to counter all forms of insurgencies into the southwest. And to a very large extent, they are succeeding. The south states have not been able to do anything like that. And so you have it here more than you have it in the other Niger Delta area. I'm sure by the time you have this kind of situation in Bayelsa and Port Harcourt, the reaction will be different. So what we are saying is that we need to be more proactive and systematic about how to deal with this and face the reality that these bandits are under cover by the federal institutions. I'm saying it publicly. They are under cover by the Nigerian police and the Nigerian army, who have done nothing.
You might not have facts to that statement.
No. We have facts from the victims who have suffered, who have suffered the injustice of arresting them and seeing them released.
I know Collins want to say something.
To a very large extent, before I'm sure you are going to give me my own topic.
Yes, I will question. I will give you your own question.
I want to differ with my very distinguished leader on that, to say federal government and the police as it were. Even police and even the army have been victims of circumstances. But however, I want to say that the federal government, let me tell you, the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, unfortunately, they lack PRO, quality PRO. I'm commissar. Why have I not said that? This government has expended more on security more than any government so far. Do you know how they have been doing that? These governors who have become an occultic team, being in that governors forum or what have you forum, that they have started as if they were market women. There is nothing really that differentiates them from market women, because market women will do enemy union, this one union, and when they say this price will remain like that.
This is our top representative in the government.
Good.
I'm telling you, yes.
Now I'm telling you, because of their kind of inaptitude, have actually led to all this. Now, how can a governor who is a chief security officer of a state, who collects over or close to $1 billion, for example, I'm even saying that those states as only a reference point, many other states, but however, thank God other governors are managing theirs, because they were able to put pen to biro, pen to paper, through the legislative what have you, to making sure that even these headers are all curtailed, because when they know that there is a law already binding, and indeed anybody can come to enforce it, who will help to enforce it is me and you. But for the fact that the law is already there, we will have the capacity to enforce and say you have been told not to be here. And even if we had issues today, tomorrow they'll bother not to come because they will not want to say.
There's something I wanted to ask you.
But however, federal government have been giving a lot of money to these governors who will say, hey, we own the security of our state, give us the thing, give us the help, we will manage it ourselves. If we give them, they will not use it. They will carry it Only God knows when they will ever tell us.
Right. I wanted to ask you this question, but I don't really know how your response will be now.
Sure.
But I'm still going to ask you.
Of course.
All right. So how is your assessment? How can you assess Edo State government when it comes to insecurity in the state?
Yes, if I am to rate it by percent, you believe me, I will give him 11 over 100.
Really?
Why am I giving the government 11 over 100? One, whether it was his blueprint or it was another person's blueprint he later used, for even coming together to say, let them have the local vigilante, I give it to them on that.
Okay.
Now, just that they did, and after which they have since even sent all of them home. Very minimal that is now left. Because how can somebody have been working over the time, putting his life at risk, whether you call it backyard vigilante or outside vigilante, it is a risk to work on a security operation. That is why today I feel so protecting to the Nigerian personnel when it comes to security matter, the way they are being handled by those in authority. Ordinarily, they ought to be the highest paid people. Because
Certainly.
they are handling a sensitive assignment. And when you take them for granted, what do you expect of them? Now, how can a government, why I assess them in 11, I have told you, because they even had that idea at all. From there,
It was never the idea.
And I said whether they
It was never the idea. I will respond shortly. It was never the idea.
But however, now how can you have such a team that was so interested everybody was interested about it across party line. When we saw the number that came out at the first time, and the most annoying thing, the government want to procure vehicles for them to begin an operation. I shed tears, and I was, yes, in those states. I was looking for who to wipe my tears because I was bleeding. Now they went to bring a refurbished Seanas.
Are you
Less
sure?
than 18. Am I sure? But they launched it in our state here. Less than 18. We have 18 local government. Meaning it did not even go around one-to-one local government. Now many of local government were jettisoned. Like the central...
Don't you think it's coming in badges?
You can't be bringing those things. Those are not, even a councillor cannot produce all that as a way of wanting to help the security.
At least it's
now,
a sign.
we have seen what other governors have been doing. We have seen what even the presidency, as it were, have been doing in procurement and all that. If you want to do, you do. If you don't want to do, you rest. Now we saw at the time what bicycle, and there were vehicles that were donated to this state, in short, across the country by a very known Nigerian, you know, to different states at that time, that you saw that they engraved one bicycle on it. Those vehicles were donated to the state. It was not procured by those state government money. That was why you saw the kind of how pretty those cars were. They were like cars that bank managers were using. You know, if a security
are you a vehicle inspection officer now?
No, by virtue of what we see,
now.
I have driven before and I'm still driving. By virtue of that, you know when your car is still good and when it's not good. But however, I appeal to the governor. I appeal to the governor. It is late. It's better than never done. He can still go to the market. Let him forget whether election is coming or not, or maybe they have to keep money for election. No, they can forget about election and let the people priority come first. By going to procure sound equipment first, utilities. Vehicles must be sound. You must give them e-losses. You know that even when people they can walk, you must kit them up. Let them wear good helmet, vest, give them good guns
and trainings.
Wonderful training, so that some of them will stop going to Obito to go and be throwing bullets like we were seeing some on social media at the time, because the guys became so tired. When people just did that, they said some of them will see beer parlor while they were like boop, 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 boop. They were kind of sporadic shooting.
You want to share in the
please, I want to appeal. These guys are committed guys. You saw the drive in them, even when they said they were not paying them. After many months, they were still there, believing that someday some good will come. So let the governor use our security vote for our people.
All right, Obebo.
All right. First, the reason I believe that the state governor have not been able to manage the security system vis-a-vis the local vigilante is because it was never the government's ideology.
Okay, whose idea is it?
Okay, first, before now, we have been advocating, even on ITV here, several occasions, on several fora, we have been advocating for state policing or community policing. The local vigilante or the Edo State Security Network came on board immediately after NSAS. We know what played out immediately after NSAS, and it started at the level of Ikpo Baoka local government, then when Dr. Eriko Sayande was the chairman, in quest to salvage the insecurity in Igbobaha because some boys heard Igbobaha hostage. We met severally. I still have letters written to the governor, written to the commissioner of police, written to 4 Mechanized Brigade. Several meetings we had to ensure that this the local government, as it were at that time, approved the vigilante. It was when they saw that it was to an extent productive in Igbobaha that some local government like Ego and also replicate. From there, the state government developed interest and took over in a quest to harness all the outfit, local vigilante outfits, and they took over. Who we are thinking? We applauded the government, thinking that they will be able to refine for a better productivity. Okay. As we speak, it seems the vigilante doesn't have a leadership. What do I mean? We have even complained to the DSS over time that the way you see these guys displaying guns, brandishing guns and all that, we write to government on how they can be properly managed. But generally, it's obvious that the state government have lost direction on how this issue of insecurity can be best managed. Now, let me tell you that the more there is an insecurity in the state, the more security votes they receive. Are you aware of that? The more they budget monies for security. And these things, the money, they are not using it for the people. As we speak, he talked about Siana. Have you ever seen anywhere in the world where security agencies using Siana? In some places, in a sense society, the vehicles, security agencies are specially produced. The engine, the way it's run faster than every other vehicle in the world. I saw in Oyo, you see the vehicle, Port Harcourt, you see the kind of healers that is being given. I was perplexed, taken aback, seeing the kind of vehicle that the governor also gave to our security. That is not an issue. As we speak now, do you know that the vehicle was donated to the security network? How they fuel the vehicles, how they repair the vehicle or maintain the vehicle, it is not the prerogative of the government.
You can't sustain that anyway.
I am telling you, I relate. We are in the streets. I'm an activist. I'm always in the streets on daily basis.
You are not in the government house.
I cannot be in the government. Directly, but indirectly, I'm there.
That is why we are wanting the government to find out now.
Yes,
if maybe they are voting for it and someone else is taking it.
So as we speak, the state governor have never heard or addressed the security, those state security network. Okay. They keep complaining. You know, in such issues with high level of sensitivity, as security is concerned, we will be expecting that at least every time. Frequently, you call these people, address them, motivate them. But they complain to us. We reach out to some of them from the commander at different stages. We relate with them. It's obviously the state government is not concerned about this. As we speak, sir, about 6 to 7 communities in Ovia North have been ransacked. There are some communities, not even the Adion Were. Let me tell you, we shouldn't play politics with this. I wrote some time ago that the governor, if you know he cannot provide security and welfare for the people of Edo State, should resign. Some persons who have been hired by the same government, you know, they cause these social media punches came and be insulted.
That was your view. That was your view.
Yeah, it is my view, and that is what it is. I talked about social contract. You have been, if you are hired here on the basis of anchoring such an event, and the management have this feelings that you are not doing well, what do they do? You have to resign, or they ask you to resign or fire you. As it stands.
But in my own case, I'm doing my best.
Yes, you are doing your best. We are saying, rather, I am saying as it stands now that the governor is not doing his best when it comes to security, and if you know he cannot do his best to secure the lives and the property, which is his primary responsibility, has provided for in the Nigerian Constitution. He should honorably resign because he had broken the social contract that he had with the Edo people.
I know how you feel. Okay, I'm going to come back to Christopher now. Recently, I traveled to Owan West, and all through the journey, the only thing I just kept hearing is kidnapping. I wasn't scared of the journey, but the people in the vehicle with me just instilled this fear inside of me. Now, from Owan West, we drove to Ekpoma in the night at about 7 p.m. They were scared, but I insisted we should go ahead with the journey. However, we got to Benin safely, and one of them looked at me and told me, this kind of trip, don't invite me again. Again. Because his wife kept calling, where are you guys now? Are you close? Are you coming today? You get it. Now, it was a day trip, okay? But now, what should citizens do to safeguard themselves? Because to an extent, when you travel through this road, you hardly see security personnel on the road.
You see, you are now assigning responsibilities to sectors of the nation state.
What should citizens do?
Yes, so you are now assigning responsibility to citizens. The only thing citizens can do is to provide information.
Okay.
There is what you call the security apparatus of a state. And when I say a state, I mean the nation, which comprise of the armed forces and the police. It is the mandatory responsibility, statutory, for them to secure the territorial integrity of Nigeria. It is not the governor's responsibility to do that.
So it's that of the citizens?
Yes, it is the governor's responsibility to supervise how those people are doing it in his state.
Okay.
And that is why they call him the chief security officer, who holds meeting with the security apparatus and they give briefs of how they are doing that work, because they report directly to their superior, who report directly to the president. Now, citizens are supposed to do their duty of just providing information. So there is a problem or a movement around your street, you call the police and say, I cannot understand this movement. The police is supposed to respond promptly. These are the things not happening now while we are talking about all of these ad hoc arrangements of having, vigilante groups and so on and so forth. And people are saying the governors of the states of Nigeria are drawing on what they call security votes. And they want them to put that security vote to use. I am saying that you are not in any position here to assess how much the governor draws and how much he has put in. So if you anchor the argument on that, we're never going to go anywhere with it. It is a responsibility of states. I agree with everybody who says, Governor, put your security vote. But you have to have the governor here, or the governor's person here, to say, I spent X, Y, Z amount on security for my security vote. Yes, no, you are calling them out now. You are calling them out now. You understand that? So we expect governors to respond to it. Are you following? Sure. So, but when we are dealing with the issues of security, citizens should give information. But how? You have noise in your street at night and you call a number that is supposed to be police response team number, and the policeman is asking you, how do you know the armed robbers? Which number of house do you say? By the time they finish the interview with you, the armed robbers are gone, and then they come in the morning and say, where is that person that called them? And they say, come on, please come on, you are followed to the station, come and take statement. So these are discouraged citizens. Yes, these are discouraged citizens. That's why I say there's collusion on the part. Now, you heard the Kaduna State governor. He's a Fulani man. He told the president, he said, look, if the federal government will not provide security for Kaduna, the northern governors would have to import mercenaries to withstand these bandits. Sure. I mean, he said it in public.
That's how frustrated. Tell you, a governor that is concerned by the security and welfare of the people, of his citizens.
And to also show you how frustrated he is, he also draws on security.
We want to see effort. Yes. We want to see effort being made by the government.
I agree with you.
Don't get it twisted. While he was in the opposition, he always spoke against the government that was in power.
He's addressing the government in power.
He's still attacking the government in power.
He's telling Buhari, telling the government, the federal government, that they had better do something about, you know what, Kaduna has been in the spotlight. Sure, and you know what has yes. He said if they don't do it, they would have to, the northern governors. That tells you that what he is saying, there's a direct indictment of his own party.
Sure.
And the government to which he belongs.
Sure.
That they have failed in the issue of security.
Sure.
So it's holistic. I agree that governors must be creative about how to secure their people. They must show passion for the citizenry that they are ruling over. They must show concern, and they must show the people that they are on their side.
Okay, so
yes,
back to what I asked.
Yes.
The citizens'
responsibility is to provide information.
Just information.
Now, how will the citizen apprehend, for instance? Now, there's a law. The law has been passed in Edo State. That, anti-open grazing law has been passed in Edo State. But if you go to the streets now...
By how many people?
No, hold on. No, let's even leave that. Let's leave that. But if you go... The point I'm making is the citizens' limitation.
Okay.
If you go to the street now and they come around your compound, can you apprehend the Fulani man? You cannot. He's carrying AK-47. And he will use it freely on you. And he will go scot-free. So the citizens cannot do that. That was why we gave kudos to Ubiaja boys that helped to foil the bank robbery in Uromi. It was a marvelous work of courage. Are you following?
Yes.
So citizens can only provide information when they see things, and that's why they say if you see anything, say something. That's what the citizens can do. We expect that when citizens give that information, the citizens should be protected. The citizen will not be a victim for giving information. So if the citizens give information and he becomes a victim, citizens are never going to give information.
So back to you now, Admadin. Do you think citizens should arm themselves at this point?
But the truth is that the kind of system we are in, if we say all citizens should arm themselves, we are in for a very worse day. Why have I not said that? Now there are issues people ordinarily should manage as security that can be well managed by those in authority. They have taken it from insecurity issue to land grabbing. Now how can I imagine a man who can help to booster and create an enabling environment for the citizens to live in, come to visit, where those are supposed to be burning issues that should be driven in the table, then how can you now expect, you are not begging police officers to come and help us fight land grabbing, when people in authority are dragging land from individuals? When people in authority are dragging land from individuals,
what's a million?
It's sad.
It's disheartening.
Yes. When people in authority are dragging lands and property with individuals, either based on the location or the size or what they foresee, they will call it that those people have grabbed land, and they will begin to cancel the document they ever had and say never existed. But that in another day. But I hope and I pray that when people have interest on the people, surely electionary time is on. When you are driving out, please support me, support my party, support our idea. I will do this, I will do AYZ. Yes, many people, based on one or two facts, they'll say, let us support you. But when you come in, do not forget those you have the same drive and spirit together. Because those people knew all that was said, they will walk in that line. But in a situation where you get to power, the same people who destroyed the system that they never allowed to exist become your special advisor. Right. For example, people always say, Jonathan has failed. President Buhari has failed in his security matter. He has failed. I told them, go and check from the day he entered the government. Former President Jonathan became his special advisor. And he's always with him every day. So he was the one cancelling him. So how do you expect him to succeed? When the same man who the whole Nigerians were driving away, now became his special advisor.
We'll take a break now, okay? We'll take a break. All right, we'll take a break right now. And when we're back, TMI continues. Please don't go nowhere.
TMI, every opinion counts.
All right, many thanks for being with us on TMI Monday morning edition. All right, quick one. Let me get final word from you.
All right, finally, I want to beg the state government to please stand up for the security and welfare of the citizens.
All right,
it should, with immediate effect, mobilize the Edo State Security Network with the assistance of the police. These boys are ready to work and sacrifice their time and their energy and their life in defense of our state. To come up this forest, to fish out and dislodge this bandit or the terrorist or whatever the name they are being called. They don't have, as we speak now, they have taken over all our forests.
Thank you, Mr. All right, Mr. Chris.
Yes, I agree that it's a problem we have to deal with. We can't run away from it. We just have to deal with it.
Okay, Mr. Amadi.
I want to thank Edo people. It's electionary time again. Let them learn to vote in people with capacity, and people will not see white and call it black, and at the end, they will do XYZ. Right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming by. We'd like to have you again. Okay, we'll be going on a short break now. And when we return, TMI continues. Don't go nowhere.